Black Power, can y'all hear me out there? Loud and clear. Salute, salute, comrade. Peace and power, peace and power. Revolutionary greetings to everybody and welcome to the show to hear my take on what's going on with the BIE. First, I'd like to give a big, huge shout out to all my street tribes, to my 60s out there, to my unthanks, to my LOPs, to my woodlines. I say peace to you. I say peace to the guys on earth. I say peace to my Islam brothers and sisters. A peace to the Israelites, brothers and sisters. Peace and black power to all my revolutionary soldiers out there. Peace and love to our five-star general, General Taco. You know, peace and love and rest in Yahoo, Baba Khalid Muhammad, Malcolm X. You know what I mean? Give a shout out to all the ancestors because without them, and peace and love, first and foremost, honestly, to Kent Ford, who started the Portland chapter down in Portland, Oregon. Without them, there would be no us. So, let's get off into it. Where we want to start at? Where we want to start at, King Samir? What do you want me to elaborate on? Floor is yours. All right, all right. So to break down the black identity extremists as General Taco and King Samir are broken down. If you don't know what COINTELPRO is, look up COINTELPRO for my people. COINTEL program, counterintelligence program, and what they did and the tactics they used on the Elder Black Panther Party, what they did with Marcus Garvey. These things have not stopped just because of the what might seem like the progression of the guerrilla movement and black liberation movement in United Snakes of America. This it hasn't slowed down. You just ain't joining. You just ain't part of the wheel that's rolling. You know what I mean? That's what I say to that. So, the Black Identity Extremist is just a 2.0 version, a revised version of tactics that is used and compiled by the federal government, used to attack people, in specific black people, black identity extremists, if you identify yourself with being black. Now, if you go, there's a war in America right now that's waging war, as we can see with the Second Amendment, which we know the Constitution didn't include us in the first place. But there's a war going on with the Second Amendment, with with politicians trying to take away firearms for one, trying to take away firearms from legally, especially assault rifles. Now we have to break down, and I'm gonna break that down. What an assault rifle is? Assault rifle is something that the military get, and they can come run inside of houses with fully automatic. These are semi-automatic rifles, no different than a semi-automatic handgun. So if they get rid of semi-automatic rifles, the next will be the semi-automatic handgun. Then after that, they will move to shotguns. And after that, they will move to a semi-knife. So they will try to disarm America to the T. And I believe the quote says, the moment you give up your guns, you are subject to slavery at any moment. We can look at the 13th Amendment. It says that slavery is abolished until you commit a crime. So we see that slavery has not been taken off the books, and they will use tactics by pen and paper to disarm you and disarm America. I'm going to say America because I'm going to get to us in a minute. Disarm America and then make those people subject to slavery at any time. Now, pertaining to us, we know that the Constitution didn't include us. We wasn't included in this. This militia was for white men in America who wanted to fight for America and fight for their land, for their rights and whatever they felt like their rights was and so forth. So this militia wasn't even really included in. We wasn't included in that. So, but with that being said, it's kind of hard to say that they can give a right or give something to somebody and to a people, and it doesn't fall under, and we don't fall underneath that as well. So if we want reparations, the blueprint has been done. We need to get a nation flag. We need to do certain things, and we can go ahead and ask for reparations. But if we want to maintain firearms, then there are certain things that they can't really do to them, but they can't really do to us unless they tweak the verbiage and the wording in there and give you a label of a black identity extremist. One of the things that will stop you from getting a firearm if you are not mentally stable to have a firearm. And I believe they passed a new law that if a family member or anybody feel that you are mentally unstable, the officers can come take your firearms without your permission They can give them back later, but they have to prove that you are mentally fit and stable to have these firearms. So they can come in your house without any kind of notice or anything, and somebody say something, and they coming in to take it. So fast forward to this, now that I kind of broke down what the black identity extremist is, that if you scream anything that's for your people, doing anything for your people, and you want to build your people, you want to raise your people correctly, you want to train your people to do what's necessary for survival. You teach them about bug out bags. You teach them and give them the education necessary for them to survive. We are talking about survival, people. We are talking about survival. With anything that you speak about with survival and maintaining and teaching your people how to survive without needing the assistance of your government, of the same people who don't want you on this earth, you become a problem and you become a target. So now, because I'm teaching my people education on bug out bags, how to survive with a 72-hour bag, how to farm, how to, well, we open up a black school for young men and women to come and get the correct education. Because I joined a political party that is screaming, fuck the system and burn that motherfucker down, no different than some of these white militias is screaming. They are against the government. They are anti-government. There's no there's difference between us is the ideology between white and black. And cracker, you over there and we over here. That is the only difference that I see in some of these parties and some of these organizations. They are still anti-government, but there is no such thing as a white identity extremist, because you see these active shooters have nothing thrown at them. They have mental illness. But let me go ahead with all the mental capacity to hold a conversation, sit down and have a dialogue with you. I don't look crazy, but I like firearms. I like to clean firearms. I like to train my people. Then I become extreme, because I'm mad when I'm upset. I'm pissed off when our people are gunned down. Our people are getting kicked out of police cars and telling a young black sister that happy, what was it, Black Girls Rock, or Black Girls Matter, or whatever the fuck the pig said. Yes, a young sister was kicked out of a car in the freezing cold as the officer was laughing in the car saying, Black Girls Rock, Black Girls Matter, Happy Black History Month, or some shit to that sort. So we still supposed to sit up here and see these things. Sandra Bland, that was a black identity extremist to the pigs. Moment she got pulled over for a tail light. Moment he gave her ticket, that investigation was over. For him to say, put out your cigarette, it wasn't illegal to smoke a cigarette. So at that point of time, he was no longer an officer of the law. He should have just been a civilian in the officer's clothing. That should have been a costume at that point, because it wasn't against the law for her to smoke a cigarette in her vehicle after she took her ticket. No matter how he felt or no matter what she said to him, he still has to abide by these damn rules that's in place for him. These motherfuckers is living lawless and don't have no rules because they're behind a badge. So now, I'm not supposed to feel any way about that. So now, because I joined a political party, July 3rd, 2018, the federal government has been having me underneath surveillance for 3 years. 3 years. It took them 3 years. Been having me under surveillance. In July 3rd, 2018, 6 o'clock in the morning, the federal government raided my house with flashbangs. About, I want to say maybe close to 80 officers on scene. They had an ambulance on scene. What they had all that for? And they came in, they flashbanged. Now, by the grace of the ancestors, and why I have to give the Most High thanks, I wasn't there. But my wisdom was, my queen was, my wife was, my children was at home. They had to go through this traumatic experience of flashbangs, waking up early in the morning. My 7-year-old is crying and his brother is just holding him while they're just on the wall, while these people invaded our house and invaded our privacy because they said I was a felon in possession of firearms. I'm going to break that down in a minute. Now, because they said I'm a felon in possession of firearms, um, because of Instagram pictures, Instagram posts. Now, the posts that I do post is all educational. I teach you training tactics. I give you inspiration and motivation to let you know that you can be okay. It's taboo for to see a black person with a gun, or they're gonna think you in, empire. They're gonna think you in power, or get rich or die trying. Nah, we train military tactics. We do nothing no different than these crackers is doing. Now maybe it might have been my fault that I put it out there and I exposed it and showed my hand. That's probably the only thing that I can admit that I say I was wrong in. I probably shouldn't have showed them. Because it take the feds one day to get what the feds used to get and have to take to get in 1 year. They really have to sit out in vans and do surveillance. They can get it all from online now. But me kind of logically knowing I'm not a felon. I thought I was all right with doing these acts on Facebook and posting with the guns. I just knew I couldn't purchase them because, like I said before, I do have a felony. Now, we're going to get into how I got off of this. Underneath the Oregon Revised Statute 166.270 states, if you are convicted of one felony that is not a person-to-person crime and is 15 years or more, you do not fall underneath the ban of felon in possession. This is the Oregon State Statute. Oregon Revised Statute 166.270 states if you have been convicted of one felony that is not a person-to-person crime, is 15 years or more, or does not involve a firearm, you do not fall underneath the ban of felon in possession anymore. So after 15 years is up. Mind you, when I caught this felony, it was a Class C felony, which is one of the lowest felonies, because I had some marijuana on me. I had a possession of controlled substance, a simple possession of controlled substance. That is what I had a felony for. Now, I never went and got this expunged because we know the process. We don't even really, as people, let's be honest, we don't want to deal with these pigs. We don't want to deal with the court system and everything else. So it does take a little bit of time, and it costs a lot of money if you really research how much it takes to do an expungement. I'm working on that now. That is actually, we're just waiting on the judge to be signed, so we'll be all right. But to fall underneath that ban of felon in possession, you have to, now by Oregon Revised Statute, Oregon, not even Oregon, the federal consequences, 18 U.S.C. 922G states, it should be unlawful for any person who has been convicted of any court of a crime punishable by imprisonment for a term exceeding 1 year. I'll say that again. 18 U.S.C. 922G states it should be unlawful for any person who has been convicted of in any court of a crime punishable by imprisonment of a term exceeding 1 year. So now, with this simple possession, I have a case law. Now, I want y'all to get your pens and pads out because this could help you if you in a district. This case law is United States of America versus Jose Manuel Valencia. United States of America versus Jose, Josemanuel, Valencia, Valencia. That is the case law that has came down the pipeline. Now, with that being said, to be a felon for the purpose of federal sentencing guidelines, according to the government, statutory minimum punishment for defendant's state offense was 5 years. So he was convicted of an offense punishable by imprisonment for a term exceeding 1 year. So if you have somebody that's the reason why they give people usually 1 year or 1 year in a day, or you see some of these entertainers getting 1 year in 1 day, because by the sentencing guidelines that makes you a felon. My sentencing guideline at that time for that simple possession was 0 to 6 months. Was 0 to 6 months. So because my sentencing guideline was 0 to 6 months, I don't fall underneath the band of felon in possession by their sentencing guidelines. So the feds did all of this hoopla and came in, invaded our privacy, and so forth, just to turn around in pre-indictment, and have to give all the firearms back. They have to give all the bullets back. They took plate carriers. They took more clothing than they took of anything. Anything that was fatigue, camouflage. Now, peep this. This is why I say we can and cannot do the same thing that these white people are doing. And I don't want my people to sit up here and think that it's a facade or that you can. I mean, you can do what you want to do, by all means. But what they don't want to see and what they are afraid of is us to start putting on BDUs, ACUs, and you start putting on multicam. You start getting in these woods, and you start training. You start getting more people to get on the knowledge that you have about it. That is what they're afraid of. So they took more clothing than they took anything. Okay? So now, with this compelling evidence against this person, Jose Manuel, now this person was in Seattle. He was an illegal immigrant who came back into the country, and I guess that's a felony. So with that sentencing guideline, his case only held 0 to 6 months, the same as mine. So when this case law came down the pipeline from Seattle, which is I think it's I can't remember exactly what district that is. I think it's the 6th district or whatnot. This is what is it? United States Appeal District Court. Yeah, the 6th district. So this came down the pipeline because he had to fight his from the inside, just as Rakim Balagoon. And free Balagoon because he was the first person that was attacked by the vicious BIE, and they had to let him go. He had to fight his after 8 months of imprisonment, give him back his firearms, and let him go. So that shows you right then and there they don't have all their T's crossing or their I's dotted because they're going after people. And you know the feds have a 99% conviction rate, right? So if they have 99% conviction rate, which most of these conviction rates are due to plea bargains and pleading out, how did they go after 2 revolutionaries, took both of these guys' firearms, took both of their artillery and their caches and everything else, their arsenal, just to turn around and have to give them back because they didn't do the necessary work to see if we are felons, actually felons in the first place. So it took about 6 or 7 months for my case to get through here. When they were about to try me and going through the process, I had to sit down in front of a threat assessment in front of the prosecutor, which, no coincidence, this prosecutor was National Security and Anti-Terrorism Task Force. This is who they put on me for Instagram photos of me with firearms and teaching my people. I didn't say I was going to go hurt nobody. There was no threats made. There was nothing made to make them think that I was going to go out here and go do something and become an active shooter or I'm going to go ahead and go hurt somebody. They said they was not even sure if they could come after me. This is the kind of games that they are playing. All right? So all my people, all my revolutionaries, all my soldiers that's out there, all my friends and families and people alike, and even the ones who hate me, this is no game to be played with. I do this for us. I do this for us. You know what I mean? So with the black identity extremists, they will go through any expense, even if they spent tens of thousands of dollars, which that operation, like I said, they had an ambulance on scene. Now, if I would have been home, and shout out to the Queen Mother, Oshun, that held it down when the feds came in her home and her king wasn't there, and she still held it down and protected them cubs. She even protected them cubs. I mean, shit, she's so hard, man, she even lit up a spliff right on front of the feds' face. Well, you ain't come here for this? Well, give me my tree. Lit it up on their ass. That's the kind of soldiers that the Black Rider Liberation Party breeds when they get the political education, when they sit down and break down this analytical thesis of what it needs to be a revolutionary. You know what I mean? There's no cowardice amongst these ranks. There's no sucker shit amongst these ranks. So because they came in the house that early in the morning, she was there. It took them about 4 hours. Now, mind you, I was never detained. I was never arrested for 6 or 7 months. There was no they coming back or whatnot. So what I did, I went and got me an attorney. My attorney said, do these necessary steps to make sure if they do come after you, you are taken care of. Or I can contact them and we can go from there, and I can just tell them you're coming to see me, and we'll take you in and turn yourself in. So what ended up happening is they end up wanting to sit down with me and do a threat assessment, as I was saying. Now I was actually kind of excited. God, God be my witness. I was actually kind of excited because I got to go to mental warfare and do a verbal exchange with two federal agents and a federal prosecutor that is an anti-terrorist task force. And I got to go to mental war with these pigs, with these snakes of the United States that wanted to bury me, right? So I got to sit down in front of them and I got to challenge them on what they feel and how they feel when they lose one of their colleagues or quote unquote comrades in United Snakes of America. Somebody that went through the same training as you. They bleed the same blood as you. How do you feel when you know that you wasn't in California when them officers was hit and gunned down? How do you feel? The same way that you feel, because you know how the training that you did and the necessary steps that you felt, and when you took this process and you went to your graduation, it's the same thing when we feel when we lose one of our people. So people are angry out here. And I know you had to calm a few of your pigs down. Sometimes we got to calm some of our warrior spirits down too, because I know some of us want to get out there and go ride. And some of us have. Some of us have put it down for the struggle and risked and sacrificed themselves. They martyred themselves out for our people. These are the people who ride for us. My heroes don't appear on those stamps. My heroes is General Taco. My heroes is King Samir. My heroes is Baba Khalid Muhammad. You know what I mean? So with the black identity extremists, this federal government will sacrifice no ends and no means to bury us, to bury the revolutionary. They will pick it apart piece by piece. Like King Samir said on the last show, they said to dismantle and disrupt and neutralize the next black Messiah. They going to dismantle. Dismantle means to take apart. So they knew if they could take the head of this organization in Portland, Oregon, the rest of it will crumble. So they think. So they know to go after the head, the rest will crumble. They'll have to pick up the pieces at least to figure out who's going to be the next in charge. You keep doing that long enough, piece by piece, eventually we can knock one chapter off one by one. While they're letting all these white nationalists getting bust in from Washington to Oregon to come in here with armed to a T, plate carriers on and everything for a rally for free speech. They were crackers on top of rooftops with semi-automatic rifles on rooftops with a truck while rallies were going on. Now, if y'all don't know the military jargon and military terms for this, that's called overwatch. The pigs said they didn't have no magazines in the rifles. There was not one in the chamber, so legally they can have it in their truck. That was okay to them. Now, let that have been some black folks up there with some semi-automatic rifles, not magazines not in there and everything else. That would have been a problem. So on July 3rd, if I would have been in the house and I don't know what's coming through my door, I'm trained to go. It probably would have been a problem. So I believe the first instinct for these crackers, I believe that was an assassination attempt. And can't nobody tell me different. Because one of the officers said, as my son has quoted, one of the officers said, well, that was a sloppy breach. So they're bringing in rookies into my home, into my peace, early in the morning. So what is a person that's supposed to protect his wife, protect his children, protect his home, train to protect his home, train his children to protect their mother and their siblings? What are they supposed to do when early in the morning you're hearing explosions, sounds of glass breaking? I think naturally you do what you are trained to do, protect. And that would have led to a lot of bullets flying through walls, babies being hit, and a lot of people hurt. and then ultimately me assassinated. All because of pictures on Facebook and pictures on Instagram of me telling my people it is all right to train. We believed in the armed self-defense. We believed in armed struggle. We don't put, the revolutionary guerrilla don't put his rifle down. Matter of fact, you don't even touch my rifle. Same way as bikers held their bikes to prestige excellence. You don't touch another man's bike. You don't touch my rifle. You get your own, and then we go train. So with this black identity extremist, I need my people to really study whether or not you are a felon or whether or not you have a felony in your respective state. And understand your laws so you know what you need to do and how you can get out in case you get yourself into a jam. Because they never got caught with anything on my personal. So all of this would have just been off of pictures and then matching firearms to pictures. That's all it was. And they wanted to make sure that I could not be around any more firearms. Ultimately, that's what they wanted. They didn't want me around any more firearms. So now when I tell you that in white America, they are scared of black people with firearms, I mean that. They are scared of black people with firearms. They did not want a black man who's telling his people to get up off their ass, go train, be ready for whatever, in racist ass Portland, Oregon with all these rallies. This shit has made national news here. Why are we playing? Why are we playing, people? When we hear about active shooters, the operative word is active, activated. They are activating. There is no mistake that these crackers are running around shooting everything that's moving. And like one of the sisters said, when black on black crime happens, it's because I'm mad at this person, or if this person did something to me, or I did something to that person. There's no reason these people are getting activated, going in Walmart and shooting innocent people. That's a Manchurian candidate type shit. But it's also in their nature to be barbaric and do that type of shit. It's not in our nature. It's in our nature to be warriors. So when you offend my tribe, I come for your tribe. You take one of mine, I take two of yours. That's a natural law of war. When tribal or urban tribalism is at war, and is at war with each other. But make no mistake, that's on us to clean up and us to fix. So with the black identity extremists, they don't want us to have guns. They went after Rakim Balagoon because of firearms, felon in possession of firearms. They wanted to give that man 5 years for firearms. What they said in the quote-unquote threat assessment is they wanted to just give me probation. When I got in front of the judge, it could have been a whole other story. So now we'll fast forward to them having to give all the firearms back. I was waiting for this. I was waiting for this to come up. I didn't know when it was going to come up, but I was surprised it didn't come up in that meeting because I dictated that whole meeting. Even my attorney was like, they could have asked you that over the phone. You control that whole meeting. I control that whole meeting. I gave them scenarios on why I train, why I want my people to be prepared and ready. To sit down and go to verbal warfare of tit for tat. Well, why you this? Why you that? Well, I'm going to challenge you with this. With federal agents who are federal government put millions of dollars and thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars into training them on how to read people. I was sitting there reading them and they couldn't read me. So now they're giving me back all these firearms. Now this is throughout the period of multiple days of them trying to locate all of our property that they took, from laptops. They took all the phones. They took every electronic. They took items of clothing and all the firearms. So now that they're giving things back, and okay, you forgot a couple things. All right, we'll call you back tomorrow. They kept doing that to prolong me to keep coming back. I know what they did. They did that to try to get my guard down. The more you see me, the more you'll be friendly with me. But see, I study. I play your game. I'll be the spook by the door. I'll let you think that I'm friendly. I'll let you think that I don't have a problem with you. One, so I can get my shit back. Two, you want me comfortable. I want you comfortable so you can play your hand. Show your cards. I know if I get too comfortable, you're going to think I'm going to start singing like a canary. And here we go. The fifth visit of getting my stuff back. Jelani, what do you know about I don't know what they asked me about. Some I don't know, pertaining to like another section of like the Moors or so forth. I'm like, I don't know what that is. What's the name of it? I'll research it. I'll research it. Right. So then they start asking me about Antifa. I don't know nothing about Antifa. I don't know. I don't sit in fucking Antifa meetings. They don't sit in our meetings. I don't know what the fuck Antifa doing. So now they start asking me, hey, if you ever want to sit down, and here they go. If you ever want to sit down and have coffee, we'll buy you lunch. What the fuck make you think I want to sit down with your retarded motherfucking cracker ass, you fucking pig, and sit down and have a conversation with you for what? Why do I want to sit down and have a conversation with you? So you think I can be comfortable and we gonna be buddy buddy? Like you was not just trying to give me a charge? You was just trying to charge me. Now that you have to give the shit back, you probably should have tried that tactic a long time ago. But see, I got them thinking I controlled that conversation. They couldn't get to that point. They couldn't get to that point of, do you want to be friends and go do lunch in the quote unquote threat assessment? Because I controlled the narrative of what was going on. So now on the fifth visit to pick things up, you want to ask me, do we want to do lunch? No. Give me my stuff. The moment I got the last thing, you won't have any kind of contact with me, sir. Thank you, buddy, and you can take the guns to the car now, because I'm not carrying no guns out of no federal building. You're not stupid. Okay? And I had some comrades with me, and I had my little brother with me to attest to that. So now they're asking for sit-downs and so forth, like I said, like they was not just trying to give me a charge. And in my head, I'm thinking, like, how disrespectful is that? You know what I mean? Like, you was really just trying to make sure I couldn't be around no firearms and so forth. Even potentially send me to prison. Potentially, if I was there, you was going to kill me. Now you want to do lunch. But I get it. I made you feel that motherfucking comfortable that you thought that was okay. That's good. I'll let you think that. So make no mistake with this BIE, they will go through no extents of playing games. Now I can tell you today, in May 8th, my son is a young lady at his school, was brand new to his school. And these are the games that they still play. Was new to his school. Now because I wasn't answering the phone for them, I think they're still playing games, but they're trying to figure out a different strategy. So now because I wasn't answering the phone, my son, May 8th, little girl at his school, she couldn't fit her shoes. Her feet hurt. Brand new girl. He decided to give her a pair of his Jordans. My middle child, he's a real revolutionary. Shout out to Kai. Shout out to 304 Kai. Follow him. So he decided to give him some shoes. And now I posted pictures of him. I think one of his little friends might have had like maybe some tree in the picture or something like that. Couldn't really tell. Looked like a stick. Couldn't really tell what the hell it was. And then I post pictures, I said, with him. I train my children with firearms so they respect the weapon. They understand the weapon, and they don't think that this is a toy, and they go out and do something stupid with it and turn around and be in the back seat of a pig car talking about, ooh, what did I do? I'm not sending my children out into the world ill-prepared. I'm going to get them prepared as much as I can because that's my job. Okay? So, now because they did that in a picture, somebody, since May, reported my children and my child to DHS. Now, I don't believe this is a cracker. I don't believe this is a stranger. I don't believe this is somebody who don't know me. This person reported my Facebook. I thought it might have been his, but I'm like, you don't have a Facebook. I thought it might have been his. But now the DHS lady comes and talks to us yesterday, and she said it was my Facebook. So I'm like, wow, mine. So underneath these pictures that I posted of him, you see all the good stuff, the good comments, and all the good things that he did with this young lady and the people giving him praise. For him to turn around and since May, somebody report this. Now to me, my Facebook doesn't say my government name. That means this person must have knew enough information about me to know where my children went to school, knew where I lived, and knew my first and last name. So that's either an agent provocateur, an informant, infiltrate. Like King Samir was saying, they will infiltrate. General Taco would tell you they would try to infiltrate. So I have to keep my guard all the way up. All the way up. I don't have no room for no buffoonery, no coonery, no triple X escort revolutionary shit, I ain't got time for none of that. None of that. I have no tolerance, zero fly zone for none of that, because that's a security risk. You are showing weakness to the enemy, and they will use it and will capitalize off of it. And 9 times out of 10, they don't want you. They want what you have deemed, if you signed up to be your leader, to be the person to take you from A to Z, to make mistakes so you can learn what to do and what not to do. We learn from failure. So the BIE will strategically try to break down every organization that they can. This is not to be played with. This is not to be played with. So now that this DHS office lady came, like I said, this person is either an agent, an informant, or somebody that know me, or somebody who's pissed off. They knew enough to give my name and send DHS because they seen my child in a picture with a firearm. That wasn't like he was in the picture making threats. I posted it. So I know it wasn't no threats. He wasn't twisting the gun around. It was actually a professional photo shoot. The young man has posters around Portland with firearms, with young lawless. Shout out to Das. Shout out to Comrade Das. Respect the shooter. The Black Rider Liberation Party, New Generation Black Panther Party, Portland chapter historian. He captures everything that we do. He took a professional photo, puts it in art exhibits. They use this same photo to call DHS on. Now, that's either the FBI, that's either an agent provocateur, an informant, or some disgruntled ass person who know enough about me. It's not a stranger. They knew too much information. So to me, I'ma label them the feds. If you're doing something like that, I'm gonna call a spade a spade. If it walk like a duck, quack like a duck, then damn it, it's a duck. So yeah, that's what the BIE is. Like I said, Rakim Belagoon was the first person. I can't speak on this case. I don't know exactly what's going on, but free the comrade again, because now he's back behind the enemy walls. They came back for the comrade. Yes, sir.